This week, Nation's Business focuses on the rehabilitation efforts on the island of Koro and how government, together with the humanitarian community, is working around the clock to get the islanders of Koro back on their feet. It's never been easy returning to normalcy after witnessing the havoc, pain, confusion, and utter destruction that Winston left behind. For many, the psychological scars run deep, and everyone everywhere has a story to tell about the ordeal they faced and their sheer determination to survive. All over the island, communication and infrastructure network has been cut off, limiting response teams to reach villages in need of assistance. Koro was the hardest hit by Super Cyclone Winston. Just 2 days after Cyclone Winston hit the island of Koro, teams from essential services of the Health Ministry, the Fiji Water Authority, Agriculture, Biosecurity, National Planning, the Fiji Red Cross, the RFMF engineers, Social Welfare, Communication, Transport and Public Utilities and Education were dispersed to the island to ascertain the extent of damage to vital infrastructure and also assist in providing much-needed temporary shelter, food, water, clothing, and dignity kits for women on the island. Prior to disembarking from the government vessel, the MV Iloilo Batu, teams were first briefed by Eliki Massa, the provincial administrator responsible for the Eastern Division, on how crucial this responsibility was in providing initial damage assessment to the National Disaster Management Office in Suva. At Nassau village, like the rest of the 13 villages of the island, homes have been reduced to rubble, with pieces of timber lying strewn as families try to salvage some form of life. For many, it's a huge sigh of relief to see the much-needed assistance to the island after the devastation from Winston.
Lai ato pasara na dua, lai rua, siya nindo na ngau na membau lutu sombukina na kukuha ni tengu. Kaya na kukuha ni vika vadadana, begi mami, ni memi vale, kaya mi chuka ni memi vale, sa pukatagi na ni mami nindo itindala ni vale. Tikubu meron, andomo nitangi, nabibu vale, sa singra na bibu ki nanguna ni kaya mta chunga na kukuha ni tangi. Msachunga kem sandusai ke mami cuma na bawa balik ni mami cuma.
Nakala na siya kura ding lamba pandombulang ke barwaki. Tata dang na ni mami di bale. Siya na ni mami ya urat di lama mo ya umaringit raya ilke. Sindal ni mami suluwo rakot ke na ding lamba ke na wolak.
On Sunday we are losing hope how we will survive because of the food and there was no water supply. And then we were just starving and looking for food here and there, and also worrying about our family back in Bai. Our families too in Suva, some of our teachers here teaching here, they have families in Suva, Singatoka in the west. And now we are happy that the ration has come, that the food supply is there. So the people are happy now. Some hope has been come to this village. People have been praying for day and night, morning prayer, afternoon prayer. that people are praying to, that we are hoping that the boat will come, one small light we'll see on the sea, that we are not happy that the boat has arrived.
Engineers from the Republic of the Fiji military forces quickly set up a distribution point for relief supplies. Even mobile medical response teams have started to provide outreach services to affected areas for the assessment of environmental health risks, healthcare for young mothers and their children, sanitation, and even food safety. Everywhere, everyone on the island is assisting in the cleanup to help them get back on their feet. Peninatui of Nangaindamu lost out on his livelihood. Prior to the destruction, he owned a shop, ran a carrier business, and supported his family and community.
Lenga bolo makin mastau. Ya kim kalunga tanai tambango ni kim stop na lenga. Rautuni babuli bir na murimai. Osip tanga bir na biokadira na salsartu. Na bisa ibice, saya berburu. Na bukla kalanga na taman nila galip kimi stop na nunda korloman ko nakita.
While humanitarian efforts start arriving, many families like Natui's would need to rebuild and move on. Apart from humanitarian assistance, families from around Fiji have also started arriving on the island to help out their families who have been affected.
Yo, babi no binakabale po ni siang nindo ng bulek utani. Kemami sama ni kita nanu mengaba bewakani ba matabu bale kemami natuba da kada kemami lakumai kemami kota mantanga mai na isulu ni sa sang tal nindo na kai bobeira merme ba isulu to kamantanga kina ni berni admai na bebu ke ba matentu na bebu ke tale ni son na kakka na vida tok ngamai na reseni kemami kota ramai rani me tarai da tok ngaki na nambula me adoba ni ngok sangga yado mai na bengarabi ba matentu na bebu ke ba matentu sakale besar na babi na binaka.
The international humanitarian community has answered the call to immediately help Fiji and her people through the provision of emergency relief supplies and a contingent of engineers including medical personnel, carpenters, electricians and plumbers committed to supporting Koro and the nation's long-term recovery. At Nassau Health Station, the Australian High Commissioner to Fiji, Her Excellency Margaret Toomey, is briefed by Dr. Semesa on how teams have been dispatched to provide medical assistance and clean drinking water to minimize any threat of disease outbreaks.
So we'll continue to focus on shelter and on water and hygiene. We're talking about food needs and what might be necessary to replant crops.
It's visits like these that boost the morale of villagers, giving them hope to start all over again. Head of Government Prime Minister Vorengen Bainimarama also visited 9 of the 14 villages of Koro, distributing much-needed relief supplies and seedlings as part of the rehabilitation and reconstruction efforts, and at the same time listened to some of the many heroic deeds that were done to save individuals and families. He encouraged the people of Koro of the need to start rebuilding their lives and that government is working around the clock to ensure that essential services of health, water supply, education and communication is up and running.
The number of houses that were actually damaged was 66, but the number of houses that were destroyed were about 926. So amongst the more than 10 villages of Koro, there were about a little bit over around 90% of the damage that were actually inflicted on the communities in Koro. In terms of rehabilitation, we are looking at about 22 million estimate. That would be an estimate of actually trying to put back all the local dwellings in Koro. This would be outside of the government buildings and the schools that were actually being affected. That would have increased the cost of damage for Koro alone.
With $15 million in humanitarian assistance committed by the Australian government towards rehabilitation efforts, Australia has already deployed its largest naval vessel, the HMAS Canberra, with approximately 500 tons of resources. Australian Foreign Minister Julie Bishop also visited the island of Koro to assess the level of rehabilitation done, meet with locals, and speak to the Australian soldiers.
How long have you been practicing? You can't even remember. About 2 weeks. Yeah. So, in terms of skill set, we've got engineers, carpenters, plumbers.
Six or seven? Yeah, we've done 3 already. Yeah, we're working on 4.
And you're working so well with our friends and our partners from Fiji, so keep it up. And there's a lot of coverage back home as to what you're doing, and the Australian people are very proud, and the government is absolutely delighted that we can help out our friends, our partners, our neighbours when they need our help. So it's been a great team effort. We've got a lot of skills amongst the ADF, and partnering with Fiji has made the task a lot easier. So thank you very much. Everybody's safe at the church?
Yeah. No, but the church was destructed too, so everybody runs up on the hill.
Many families on the island are now living in tents provided by various international aid agencies. Additionally, massive cleaning up of debris has begun in the various villages of Koro through the humanitarian military assistance.
From the government side, in terms of the rehabilitation, this will take a major task of government into the future. For the time being, through this early recovery and the transition towards rehabilitation, trying to get the schools back, for the children to get back into the classroom, that is a top priority of government. And it is not only that, the teachers needs to be considered also. So we need to also have the teachers' quarters being repaired to allow the teachers to be. If the teachers are being looked after well, then they should be able to provide the maximum output for children in the classroom.
With the help of the Fijian and Australian military, a huge humanitarian operation has swung into operation to meet the urgent needs of people living on Koro.
Yesterday we visited Koro Island and saw the devastation, the homes and buildings, churches and schools that have been so severely damaged. And Australia will continue to offer our support and work with the Fiji government in restoring Fiji back to normal. One other issue that is quite disturbing is the fact that the agricultural crops have been devastated, and so this season there will be a loss of income and an impact on the economy. So Australia stands ready to support Fiji in helping with the economy and getting crops back in for planting. Overall, the Australian effort has been well received and deeply appreciated, particularly the presence of 1,000 Australian Defence personnel, our largest ship in the Navy, HMAS Canberra, and a number of helicopters that have been used to take goods and personnel to the outlying islands. This has been a tragic time for the people of Fiji, 44 casualties as a result of the cyclone, but the people are resilient, stoic and determined to restore their lives, and Australia is proud to have been part of this effort.
We greatly appreciate the assistance provided to us by our international partners, and particularly our neighbors, New Zealand and Australia. We were stretched to the extreme, particularly with capabilities that we have. That was one of our major concerns initially, but with the assistance provided by Australia, and particularly the capability brought about by JTF 635 and the HMS Canberra, it really assisted us in the work that we did. We have about a week away from the end of this emergency period, and I did state during her visit, and of course in all the meetings that we've been having so far, that is subject to review. Probably we will look at parts of Fiji to continue under this state of emergency. The team in Suva are working on that right now. We are in the transition period, although we still have some activities to be undertaken in some parts of Fiji, but I think we are satisfied and we are quite pleased with the progresses that we've made so far in the last 3 weeks, and of course with the cooperation by all our partners and friends, and for that we are extremely happy with the progress, and of course we are indeed thankful as well. Right now in Suva, the team are working on the recovery and the long-term reconstruction. I did state in the meeting yesterday in Suva that it will be an ongoing process. Planning will continue, but at the same time we are transitioning into the recovery and the long-term reconstruction. At the same time, we have the World Bank team together again with ADB and our partners, of course Australia and the European Union as well, for the conduct of a PDNA, which is an important exercise for us, which will look at the long-term directions and particularly the macroeconomic activities and the areas of focus.
I've been quite amazed by the resilience of the staff. Some of them have been through very traumatic times. We met some in Rakaraki, we met them again in Tabuini, they were there during these problems. But I think the resilience has come through, and their commitment to the values and the vision and the mission of the mission. They continue to provide service. In some cases we've tried to give them an opportunity to rest and recuperate, pull some of them out, pull other people in. But overall, I'm very impressed with the kind of service that they've been able to provide. They continue to provide service even though they're facing difficult times themselves. There's still a lot of things to be done. I think the cyclone is now over. Now we're getting into the issue of communicable disease that needs control. Ministry will be addressing this. There'll also be the issues of nutrition, and hopefully together with the ministry and all of our partners out there, the village health workers and the development partners that are working with us, we hope to try to put a lid on this, maintain it so that we don't get upsurges in communicable disease. And for that, we need the public to be working closely with us.
United Nations agencies and NGO partners are now working with the Fijian government to provide supplies and technical assistance to improve conditions on the ground.
But nobody imagined what Cat 5 could have done, and that is where government would like to inform the people and the community now as you prepare to rebuild, get the design, get the process that you have your houses upgraded to Cat 5 level.